టుడే ఐమ్ హియర్. కాసేపు మీ ముందు వ్యాఖ్యాతగా ఉండడానికి నాకు ఈ అవకాశము ఇచ్చిన వాళ్ళందరికీ కూడా మనసారా కృతజ్ఞతలు. మరొకసారి అందరికీ వాళ్ళ కార్యక్రమానికి సుస్వాగతం. దిస్ ఈజ్ అ హ్యూజ్ సక్సెస్ నిజం చెప్పాలంటే. అండ్ ఈ పర్టికులర్ అకేషన్ ఇవాళ ఈ వేదిక చాలా చాలా ముఖ్యమైనది. ఎందుకో మళ్ళీ చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. బట్ మీ అందరూ హాయిగా ప్రశాంతంగా మీ స్థానాల్లో కూర్చుంటే మనం ఇవాళ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఎప్పట్లాగానే ఒక మంచి ఇన్వొకేషన్తో మొదలు పెట్టబోతున్నాము. ఈసారి భైరవి శతకంతో మొదలు పెడతాము. లేడీస్ అందరూ రెడీగా ఉన్నారు. భైరవి శతకం యూజువల్గా ఒక పవర్ఫుల్ ఇన్వొకేషన్ పీస్ అండి. అది ఎక్కడైనా ఒక మంచి వాతావరణాన్ని, ఒక ఎనర్జైజ్డ్ వాతావరణాన్ని క్రియేట్ చేయాలనుకున్నప్పుడు ఈ భైరవి శతకాన్ని వాడుతూ ఉంటారు. సద్గురువుని ఫాలో అవుతున్న వాళ్ళందరికీ ఈ విషయం తెలుసు. సో భైరవి శతకంతో ఇవాళ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ప్రారంభించబోతున్నాము. లేడీస్ అందరినీ రావాల్సిందిగా కోరుకుంటున్నాను. Please put your hands together to begin this day with a wonderful energy from all of you. Can I request you all to please put your hands together to begin the day. Thank you.
వాళ్ళకి థమ్స్ అప్ ఇవ్వాలట, రైట్? అదే కదా.
ట్రాక్ లేకపోతే కనిపిస్తుంది. चंद्रमौलिरबला अपर्णा उमा पार्वती काली है हिमवती शिवा त्रिनयनी कात्यायनी भैरवी सावित्री नवयौवना शुभकरी साम्राज्यलक्ष्मी प्रदा चिद्रूपी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी भैरवी मोहिनी देवता त्रिभुवनी आनन्दसन्दायिनी वाणी पल्लवी वेणि वेणुमुरळी गानप्रियालोकिनी कल्याणी उडुराजबिम्बवदना धूम्राक्षसंहारिणी चिद्रूपी वरदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी भैरवी रौद्रिणी भद्रकाळि बगला ज्वालामुखी वैष्णवी ब्रह्माणी त्रिपुरान्तकी सुरनुता ते दीप्यमानोज्ज्वला चामुण्डा श्रितरक्षपोषजननी दाक्षायणी वल्लवी चिद्रूपी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी भैरवी शूलधनु कुशाङ्कुशधरी अर्धेन्दु बिम्बाधरी वाराणी मधुकैटभ प्रशमनी वाणी रमा सेविता मल्लद्यासुरमूकदैत्यमदनी माहेश्वरी अम्बिका चिद्रूपी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी भैरवी सृष्टि विनाश पालनकरी आर्या विसंशोभिता गायत्री प्रणवाक्षरामृतरस पूर्णानुसन्धीकृता ओंकारी विनुतार्चितार्चितपदा उद्दण्डदैत्यापहा चिद्रूपी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी भैरवी शाश्वतागमादिविनुता आर्या महादेवता या ब्रह्मादिपिपीलिकान्तजननी या वै जगन्मोहिनी या पञ्चप्रणवादिरे भजननी या चित्कलामालिनी चिद्रूपी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी चिद्रूपी परदेवता भगवती श्रीलिङ्गभैरवी
Can you
మళ్ళీ ఇంకొకసారి అందరికీ ఇవాల్టి కార్యక్రమానికి సాదర సుస్వాగతం. వెరీ హ్యాపీ 4th of July ఎవ్రీవన్. నా పేరు రాజేశ్వరి ఉదయగిరి. ఇవాళ ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని భైరవి శతకంతో ప్రారంభించాము. ఆ తర్వాత ఒక ఫస్ట్ టైం వాసవి చరిత్రలో మొదటిసారి కెనడా చాప్టర్ నుంచి ఇక్కడ పర్ఫామ్ చేయడానికి కొంతమంది చిన్నారులు వస్తున్నారు. ప్లీజ్ పుట్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్ టుగెదర్ టు బ్లెస్ దెమ్ ఆన్ దిస్ స్టేజ్ అండ్ వీ విల్ కంటిన్యూ విత్ అ బ్యూటిఫుల్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ టుడే.
రాజు బంగారు కొండ కొండ జాతికి అండా దండ మధ్య రాత్రి లేచి మంగళ గౌరీ మల్లెలు కోసిందే
వాటిని మాలలు కడతా మంచు కొండల సామిని తలసిందే
మెల్లో మెలికల నాగుల దండ బలపుల వేడికి ఎగిరి పడంగా ఉంటి ఈ బూది జల జల రాలి పడంగా సాంబడు కదిలిండే
అమ్మ పిలుపుకు సామి అత్తరు సెగలై విలవిల నలిగిండే
ఒకటో జామున కలిగిన విరహం రెండో జాముకి ముదిరిన విరసం సర్దుకుపోయే సరసం కుదిరే ఏలకి మూడో జామాయే
ఒత్తిక పెరిగే నాలుగో జాముకి గుళ్ళో గంటలు మొదలయ్యే
ప్రతి ఒక్క రోజుది జరిగే ఘట్టం ఎడముఖమయ్యి ఏకం అవటం అనాది అలవాటిళ్ళకి అలకలలోనే కిలకిలమనుకోవటం స్వయాన చెబుతున్నారు అనుబంధాలు గడతేరే పాఠం
Sapamagata kita tadi midirana. Sapamagata kita tadi midirana. Sa rigatabari, rigarini sa rigatabari. Sapamaga mama ga mama ga mama ga mama ga paga garisanisa. Garisanisa. Don't stop me up, baby. Say yeah yeah yeah. Tadi midirana, carissa, 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 carigasa, sa carigasa, sa carigasa. C'est comme ça, ma chérie, la 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 la. Carissa, 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 li baba di sa.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. వాళ్ళు ఒక 1 వీక్లో ఇదంతా నేర్చుకుని కొరియోగ్రఫీ వచ్చి ఇక్కడ పర్ఫామ్ చేశారండి మొదటిసారి. సో డెఫినెట్లీ వీ నీడ్ టు బ్లెస్ దెమ్ అండ్ ఎంకరేజ్ దెమ్. ఇవాళ కార్యక్రమాన్ని థ్యాంక్ యూ. అండ్ ఇవాళ కార్యక్రమాన్ని పరమశివుడిని తలుచుకుంటూనే మొదలుపెట్టాము ఏదో ఒక రకంగా. కొండల రాజు బంగారు కొండ, కొండ జాతికి అండదండ. ఆయన కొండ జాతికే కాదు, పరమశివుడు ఈ మొత్తం ప్రపంచానికి అండదండ కూడా. ఇవాళ భైరవి మాత శతకంతో కార్యక్రమం ప్రారంభం చేశాము, తర్వాత శివుడిని తలుచుకున్నాము. అదే కొనసాగిస్తూ శివ కైవారం ఆంధ్ర నాట్యాన్ని మన ముందుకి తీసుకొచ్చారు డాక్టర్ నటరాజ రామకృష్ణ గారి శిష్యురాలు ఆవిడ శ్రీ తులసి అక్కినేపల్లి. ప్లీజ్ పుట్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్ టుగెదర్ టు వెల్కమ్ హర్ ఆన్ టు ది స్టేజ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ అండి, థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. దట్ వాజ్ అ బ్యూటిఫుల్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్. మనందరికీ ఎంతో గర్వకారణం. ఈనాటి ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పద్మశ్రీ డాక్టర్ నటరాజ్ రామకృష్ణ గారి శిష్యురాల ద్వారా మీరు ఈ కార్యక్రమం చూసారు, ఈ డ్యాన్స్ ఐటమ్ ఇంతకుముందు. తర్వాత భరతనాట్యం రాబోతోంది. బట్ అది వచ్చే ముందు ఒక్కసారి మీ అందరికీ కొన్ని సూచనలు ఉన్నాయండి. సద్గురు కోసం మనందరం ఎదురు చూస్తున్నాము, మనందరికీ తెలిసిన విషయమే. కానీ మన న్యాచురల్ ఎక్సైట్మెంట్లో మనం కొంచెం హడావిడి పడుతుంటాము. ఆ హడావిడికి పడకుండా కామ్గా ఉండాలని అందరినీ కోరుకుంటున్నారు. అండ్ మీరు ఎవరైనా రెస్ట్ రూమ్స్ యూజ్ చేయవలసి వస్తే సద్గురు వచ్చే లోపలే, అంటే ఇంకొక 10-15 నిమిషాల్లోనే మీరు ఆ కార్యక్రమాలన్నీ పూర్తి చేసుకుని మీ ప్లేస్లలో అవకాశంగా కూర్చుని మీరు ప్రశాంతంగా ఉంటే ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని అందరము చాలా హాయిగా ఎంజాయ్ చేయొచ్చు. సో ప్లీజ్ కామ్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్స్ డౌన్. అండ్ ఆల్సో వీలైతే మీ సెల్ ఫోన్స్ కూడా మ్యూట్లో పెట్టవలసిందిగా కోరుకుంటున్నారు. పిల్లలు ఉంటే కనుక వాళ్ళని కూడా మీ దగ్గర పెట్టుకోండి ప్లీజ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. తర్వాత రాబోయే ఐటెం దశావతారం చూడబోతున్నాం మనం. దిస్ ఇస్ కొరియోగ్రాఫ్డ్ బై శ్రీమతి గాయత్రి రాజ్ అండ్ పర్ఫార్మ్డ్ బై ఈషా రాచకొండ అండ్ కార్తిక్ రాచకొండ. ప్లీజ్ పుట్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్ టుగెదర్ టు ద పార్టిసిపెంట్స్.
Zari ma ba ma ri zari ni ba ma ri ma sa ni ba ma ba sa ni pa ma ri sa pa ma ri zari ni ba ma ri ma sa ni ba ma ba sa ni pa ma ri sa. Matsyavatārāya namah Matsyavatārāya namah Matsyavatārāya namah. Tayanum dadayanum dadanum dum da tayanum dadayanum 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 dum dum dadayanum da tayanum dadanum dadanum danum danum dum danam ta. Kurmavatārāya namah Kurmavatārāya namah Kurmavatārāya namah Gama badani sani pama gazani saga magama pama badani sa Gama badani sani pama gazani saga magama pama badani sa Saga gama ma pa badani ni sa saga maga Varahavatārāya namah Varahavatārāya namah Varahavatārāya namah. Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya.
Narasimhavatārāya Narasimhavatārāya Narasimhavatārāya
Nrisimhāya namah Nrisimhāya namah Nrisimhāya namah. Sa sa ma ga pa ma da pa ma ga ma ri sa ma pa da pa sa ni ri sa ni da ni da pa sa sa ma ga ma pa da pa sa ni ri sa ni da ni da pa ma ga pa ma da pa sa sa ni da pa ma da pa ma ga ma ri sa ma ga pa ma da pa sa sa ni da pa ma da pa ma ga ma ri sa ni da ni sa sa ma ba da pa pa ni da ni sa sa ga ma ri sa ni ri sa sa da ni da pa ma da pa pa ga ma ri sa ni ri sa sa ni da ni sa sa ma ba da pa pa ni da ni sa sa ga ma ri sa ni ri sa sa da ni da pa ma da pa pa ga ma ri sa ni ri sa वामनाय नमः त्रिविक्रमाय नमः वामनाय नमः त्रिविक्रमाय नमः वामनाय नमः परशुरामावताराय नमः परशुरामावताराय नमः परशुराम परशुराम ॐ नमो नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय राम राम जय जय राम 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 जय जय राम श्रीरामावताराय नमः Bama ri sa da za da za ri ma pa da sa da da bama ri sa da za ri ma pa da sa da ba ma ri da za ri ma pa da sa Balaramaya Namah Balaramaya Namah Balaramaya Namah Krishna Krishna Jai Jai Krishna 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 Jai Jai 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 Krishna 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 Jai Jai Krishna 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 Jai Jai Krishna Krishna Avataraya Namaha Sri Krishna Krishna Kalki Avatar Kalki Avatar Dashavidha Rupa Dashavidha Rupa Dashavidha Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya
థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. వాళ్ళిద్దరు సిబ్లింగ్స్ అండి. దట్ వాస్ సో స్వీట్ టు వాచ్ యూ బోత్ డాన్స్ టుగెదర్. యా, దే డెఫినెట్లీ డిజర్వ్ దట్. వీ హ్యావ్ స్నిగ్ధ మధులా కమింగ్ అప్ నెక్స్ట్ విత్ అనదర్ భరతనాట్యం ఐటమ్. అది తనే కొరియోగ్రాఫ్ చేసుకుని పర్ఫామ్ చేస్తోంది. ఇక్కడికి ఎల్ఏ నుంచి వచ్చింది. వన్ మోర్ టైమ్ ఐ వాంట్ రిమైండ్ యూ, ఒక 10 నిమిషాల్లో ఇక్కడ డోర్స్ క్లోజ్ చేసేస్తారు. సో లోపలికి రావడానికి మళ్ళీ వేరే బయట ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి రావడానికి లేదు, లోపల ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి వెళ్ళడానికి లేదు. అండ్ ప్లీజ్ కామ్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ డౌన్, రిలాక్స్ అండ్ సిట్ బ్యాక్. Do not go around the place because they want everyone to be calm, and definitely we all know we need to give the positive and calm vibe when our beloved Sadhguru walks in. So please calm your cell phones down. పిల్లలు ఉంటే దగ్గర పెట్టుకోండి. దయచేసి రెస్ట్ రూమ్ యూజ్ చేయాలంటే ఇప్పుడే యూజ్ చేయండి. ప్లీజ్ put your hands together to welcome Snigdha. Also, one more announcement, and the first 2 rows are reserved seats. Sorry, can we hold the music for a second? Sorry, I have one more announcement. The first 2 rows are meant to be for the grand sponsors and families and dignitaries. So please help yourself to different spots if you are not from this category. Thank you so much. We can start the music, please.
शब्दब्रह्ममयी चराचरमयी ज्योतिर्मयी वाङ्मयी नित्यानन्दमयी निराजनमयी श्रीधीमयी चिन्मयी तत्त्वातीतमयी परात्परमयी मायामयी श्रीमयी सर्वेश्वरमयी सदाशिवमयी तेजोमयी वासवी वासवी वासवी
तक धिम तक 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 धिम तक 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 धिम तक 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 धिम तक जन तक धिम तक धिम जन तक तक
शक्ति प्रसादिंचे पार्वती माता सकल भव भया चतुर्विध पुरुषार्थ प्रदायिनी
अधौकरद्वयां चैव वरदाभयभूषितां किरीटहार केयूर मणिमेखलभूषितां सर्वैश्वर्यप्रदां देवीं कन्यका परमेश्वरीं कन्यका परमेश्वरीं कन्यका परमेश्वरीं वासवी श्रीवासवी अम्मा
Thank you so much for the beautiful dance అండి. సారీ మనకి సమయం తక్కువ ఉంది, తను వెళ్ళక ముందే నేను రావాల్సి వస్తుంది, దాన్ని క్షమించాలి. ఇవాళ ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి చాలామంది వచ్చారు, అందరికీ మరొకసారి స్వాగతం. అందరికన్నా ముఖ్యంగా గురుతుల్యులు మా అందరికీ చాలా చాలా ఆప్తులు శ్రీ జొన్నమతుల రామలింగేశ్వర గారు వీళ్ళు ఇక్కడికి ఉన్నారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ అండి, థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ ఫర్ కమింగ్. మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి అందరికీ గుర్తు చేస్తున్నానండి, సద్గురు వచ్చే సమయం దగ్గరికి వచ్చేసింది. సో ప్లీజ్ సెటిల్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ డౌన్. మనం ఎంత ప్రశాంతంగా ఉంటే అంత ఈ కార్యక్రమం అంత బాగుంటుంది, అందరికీ అంత ఆనందాన్ని కలిగిస్తుంది. సో మీ అందరికీ తెలుసు, సద్గురు మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు ఎలాంటి వాతావరణం ఉంటుందో ఫాలో అయ్యే వాళ్ళందరికీ తెలుసు, ప్రతి ఒక్కళ్ళకి కూడా. సో మనం కూడా ఇక్కడ అలాంటి వాతావరణాన్ని కలిగించే ప్రయత్నం చేద్దాము. ప్లీజ్ కామ్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ డౌన్ అండ్ కూర్చోండి, మీ స్థానాల్లో కూర్చోండి. మరీ ముఖ్యంగా ఈ ముందు 2 రోస్ కూడా స్పాన్సర్స్కి, గోల్డ్ స్పాన్సర్స్కి అండ్ వారి ఫ్యామిలీస్కి, డిగ్నిటరీస్కి అలొకేట్ చేయబడ్డాయి. ఇఫ్ యూర్ నాట్ ఫ్రమ్ దట్ కేటగిరీ, ప్లీజ్ సిట్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ డౌన్ ఇన్ అ డిఫరెంట్ స్పాట్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ ఫర్ ఫాలోయింగ్ ద రూల్స్. మీ సెల్ ఫోన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా దయచేసి సైలెంట్ చేయవలసిందిగా ప్రార్థిస్తున్నాము. ప్లీజ్ కామ్ డౌన్. మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చెప్తున్నందుకు ఏమీ అనుకోకండి దయచేసి. మనం ఎంత ప్రశాంతంగా ఉంటామో, మనం ఎంత ఇక్కడ కామ్నెస్ మెయింటైన్ చేస్తామో, ఎంత సైలెన్స్ ఇక్కడ మనం క్రియేట్ చేయగలుగుతామో అంత గురు గ్రేస్కి మనం పాత్రలం అవుతాము. సో దయచేసి మీరందరూ ప్రశాంతంగా కూర్చుంటారని, సద్గురుని చాలా హాయిగా ఆనందంగా ఆహ్వానిస్తారని ఆశిస్తున్నాము. ఆల్సో మేక్ ష్యూర్ యువర్ సెల్ ఫోన్స్ ఆర్ ఆల్ సైలెంట్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
War II is a scar upon human race forever. Two can live into things that till now. What we are looking at, not bomb quiet just in the world. By 2040, we'll be producing 40% less planet. Will be 9. World War II will look like a small blimp, because if 40% less food means, it's estimated in 6 months, about 1.5 to 1.7 billion people can die.
Climate change, food security, nutritional security, water quality, water renewability, biodiversity, land grab, political stability. Human health, well-being, peace, prosperity. Soil is the basic of all that. Soil is a basic entity on which all terrestrial life depends. All the food which is consumed by human soil. As much as 95% of all antibiotics taken in animal come from soil.
Can we request all of
So
you to
soil
please
and
sit
life
down?
have evolved
Please sit
together.
down.
Soil without.
There are over… we cannot…
Down, everybody, please sit down. We are very fortunate to have our greatest guru, whom we all consider as almost our life. He's walking into this arena. ఈ వాతావరణాన్ని అంతా పవిత్రం చేస్తూ వస్తున్నారు ఆయన. దయచేసి అందరూ కూర్చుని మీ స్థానాల్లో వారికి సాదర స్వాగతం మీ కరతాళ ధ్వనులతో ఇంకా గట్టిగా కొట్టచ్చు. ఈ కరతాళ ధ్వనుల ద్వారానే మనం మన ప్రేమని, మన అభిమానాన్ని, మన గౌరవాన్ని దయచేసి కూర్చోవాల్సిందిగా అందరినీ కోరుకుంటున్నాము. We all are so excited. We are very sure about this, but please sit down and calm yourself down. ఈరోజు ఈ NRIVA 6th గ్లోబల్ కన్వెన్షన్ కార్యక్రమానికి ఎంతోమంది అతిథులు, ఎంతోమంది సెలబ్రిటీస్ వచ్చారు. ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని చాలామంది మీ ఎలాంటి వాళ్ళు ఎంతోమంది వచ్చి దీన్ని జయప్రదం చేశారు. మనందరి మధ్య ఇవాళ మన గురువు, our guide, our mentor, the person who has always been there for us, virtually for millions and millions of us. ఆకలిస్తే అమ్మ ఎలా గుర్తొస్తుందో, అవసరం వస్తే నాన్న ఎలా గుర్తొస్తాడో, కష్టం వస్తే అలా చాలామందికి మనసు కష్టపడ్డ, ఆలోచనలు స్తంభించిపోయిన, పరిస్థితులు తారుమారైనా ఎలా అయినా సద్గురు ఖచ్చితంగా గుర్తొస్తారు మనలాంటి ఎంతోమందికి. ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి విచ్చేసిన అతిథులందరికీ మనసారా స్వాగతం పలుకుతున్నాను. NRIVA గ్లోబల్ 6th కన్వెన్షన్ కార్యక్రమానికి Sadhguru, we are so fortunate. I'm actually fumbling while I speak, but Namaskaram, Sadhguru. I feel so blessed to even say a word looking at you. I am sure everyone here is feeling as emotional and as I am. Please, again, let me remind all of you to kindly silence your cell phones and calm yourself down. Let us give this stage, this place, let's convert this into a venue where we are all ready and available for the grace. Please, let's be ready to receive the grace. ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని కార్తిక్ గారిని వచ్చి సేవ్ ద సాయిల్కి సంబంధించిన ఒక పాటతో ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ప్రారంభించవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను. మే ఐ నౌ ఇన్వైట్ కార్తిక్ ప్లీజ్.
జై వాసవి. ప్రణామ్ సద్గురుజీ. మీ కరతాళ ధ్వనులే ఈ పాటకి వెనకాలొచ్చే సంగీతం. సేవ్ సాయిల్ గురించి చాలామంది చాలా రకాలుగా చెప్పారు. ఈ చిన్న సమయంలో జస్ట్ ఒక అర్ధగంట క్రితం నేను ఊరికే ఒక లిరిక్ రాసి కంపోజ్ చేయడం జరిగింది సద్గురు అండ్ మీ అందరి కోసం. థ్యాంక్ యూ NRIVA ఫర్ ది ఆపర్చునిటీ. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. సేవ్ సాయిల్ సిరులకు చిరునామైంది ధరణి. సేవ్ సాయిల్ నదులకు నడకలు నేర్పిన పుడమి. సేవ్ సాయిల్ గిరులకు తరులకు తావగు పృథివీ. సేవ్ సాయిల్ సకల జీవులకు నెలవగు జనని. సేవ్ సాయిల్ సిరులకు చిరునామైంది ధరణి. సేవ్ సాయిల్ నదులకు నడకలు నేర్పిన పుడమి. సేవ్ సాయిల్ గిరులకు తరులకు తావగు పృథివీ. సేవ్ సాయిల్ సకల జీవులకు నెలవగు జనని. థ్యాంక్ యూ. అండ్ ఇందులోనే ఒక చెట్టు మనకి ఏమేమి ఇస్తుంది, మన దగ్గర నుంచి ఏమేమి కోరుకుంటుంది. నను రాల్చి చందనాలుగా, నను కాల్చి ఇంధనాలుగా, అనువనువు ఔషధాలుగా, తనువంతా భూషణాలుగా, మరి నాపై ఏంటి మీ పగ. నన్ను చెక్కి ఆసనాలుగా, సంగీతపు సాధనాలుగా, నువ్వు చదివే పుస్తకాలుగా, నీ పూజకు పూలు నావిగా, మరి ఎందుకు రాయిదగా. నేనేమి ఒంటికి బట్ట, చలిరాపగా అవుతదు పట్ట, నా ఆకులే కదరా చుట్ట, నా రక్తమితే నెల తుట్ట, మరి నన్నే నరికితే ఎట్టా. ఎండను తింటూ నీడను కంటూ పరోపకారం నా ధర్మం. సేదను తీరి బాధను కోరే ఈ అపకారం అధర్మం. ఎండను తింటూ నీడను కంటూ పరోపకారం నా ధర్మం. సేదను తీరి బాధను కోరే ఈ అపకారం అధర్మం. నువ్వు పుడితే నేనే ఉయ్యాలా, తడబడితే సాయం చెయ్యాలా, నువ్వు పోతే కాడై మొయ్యాలా. మనిషి నువ్వు చేసే పని ఏంది ఇయ్యాలా, నువ్వు నమిలే భోజనమవ్వాలా, నీవు ఊపిరి గాలిని ఇవ్వాలా, నీ గూడై రక్షణ కావాలా. మనిషి నీ కక్షకునే బలి కావాలా. పశుపక్షాదులు సరీసృపాలు మృగాలు యుగాలు నాతో ఉన్న దిగాలు పడలేదే నాడు. కోతిగా పుట్టి జాతిని మార్చి నీతికి మూతిని బిగించి కట్టి భీతిని రేపు తవినాడు. ఎండను తింటూ నీడను కంటూ పరోపకారం నా ధర్మం. సేదను తీరి బాధను కోరే ఈ అపకారం అధర్మం. థ్యాంక్ యూ. థ్యాంక్ యూ సద్గురుజీ ఫర్ మోటివేటింగ్ అస్. ఎప్పుడు అంటే చెట్టు కానీ పక్షులు కానీ ఎప్పుడు మన మన వృక్షాలు ఎప్పుడు కూడా పశుపక్షాదులు సరీసృపాలు మృగాలు ఎన్ని ఉన్నా తను ఎప్పుడు దిగులు పడలేదు. మన మానవ జాతి ఎప్పుడైతే అభివృద్ధి చెందిందో అప్పుడే దిగులు పడుతుంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ NRIVA ఫర్ దిస్ ఆపర్చునిటీ అండ్ థ్యాంక్ యూ సద్గురుజీ. వన్స్ అగైన్ సేవ్ సాయిల్ 1 2 సేవ్ సాయిల్. సిరులకు చిరునామైంది ధరణి సేవ్ సాయిల్. నదులకు నడకలు నేర్పినప్పుడు మీ సేవ్ సాయిల్. గిరులకు తరులకు తావగు పృథ్వీ సేవ్ సాయిల్. సకల జీవులకు నెలవగు జనని. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. దిస్ ఇస్ కార్తిక్ కొడకర్ల, మ్యూజిక్ డైరెక్టర్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇండియా. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
So how many of you know the Save Soil tune that Isha has been promoting for a while? So let's go. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Technically, I was supposed to be dancing and singing, but because of my attire and mic and my nervousness standing here, I'm not able to do it. But once again, please keep your cell phones silent, and we will watch the beautiful video that is coming up from NRIVA. This is on Seva. We are talking about Seva. We are talking about Seva and help to each other. Let us really see what exactly has NRIVA has done. I have been associated with this organization for a couple of years now, I think 6-7 years. And I am definitely feeling proud to be here on the stage. NRIVA has been supportive to many, many people, as we know. But for now, right now, what we are focusing on, adopt a village, adopt a student, adopt a parent, which is very, 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 very interesting and very much needed. Along with this, COVID crisis lo unnapudu, they have been supportive for many, many people by providing oxygen concentrators, and they have also helped people who were the plasma donors. They moved them from place to place to help them. So let's watch the video. Please put your hands together. Give a grand welcome once again to Sadhguru. Please also calm yourself down and sit yourself down. Do not go around.
దేశం కాని దేశాన నేస్తం సాయం అంటూ చాపావో హస్తం తీరం దాకా తోడుండి నడిపిస్తా లాభాపేక్ష లేకుండా నిత్యం చూపిస్తోంది తన మానవత్వం 20,000 హస్తాల దాతృత్వం తల్లి వాసవి సందేశాలతో సాగేవో రాగం ప్రజా సేవకై వాసవి బిడ్డలు చేసే ఈ యాగం ఏ కట్టుబొట్టు సంస్కృతులకెప్పుడు కారాదని భంగం మట్టి తల్లి రుణం మిట్టా తీర్చి మొదలెట్టినది సంఘం దీని పేరు నిస్వార్థం అహింస దీని పరమార్థం లోకణ శాంతి ధర్మం శీలంతోనే అని అర్థం విద్యకు దాతగా NRIVA వైద్యము దాతగా NRIVA మానవ సేవకు NRIVA మాధ్యమమైపోయే పెళ్లికి ఆసర NRIVA పేదల నేస్తము NRIVA సమాజ సేవతో NRIVA సార్థకమైపోయే
మార్చేరాదై
బడుగుల ఇంట పెళ్ళి అంటే బరుగున మంగళసూత్రం అంటూ సరిపడా సాయం అందజేస్తూ కరువుతో ఉన్నారంటే పస్తూ దత్తతగా ఊర్లు స్వీకరిస్తూ ఆకలిని తీర్చే హామీ ఇస్తూ ధర్మము శీలము అహింస త్యాగము వాసవాంగతత్వం ప్రపంచమంతట ధ్వనింప చేయుట మాకు ముఖ్య కృత్యం. ధర్మ రక్షణకు ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, శాంతి స్థాపనకు ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, విశ్వమంతటా ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ విస్తృతమైపోయే. వాసవి రూపము ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, కరుణా దీపము ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, పేదల పాలిట ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ కోరని వరమాయే.
వాసవివాణి స్థానికుల్లో దాగిన ప్రతిభ చాటుకునే వేదిక ఇదిగా. వ్యాస రచనలు చిత్రకళలు ఇంకేవైనా
ఆపదలో కలిసి ముందుకొస్తూ ఆసుపత్రులకు వితరణిస్తూ అయిన వారల్లే అన్ని చేస్తూ సమయము నిధులు ఖర్చు చేస్తూ జనముల క్షుదని తీర్చివేస్తూ నిలిచెను గుండె ధైర్యమిస్తూ కులమే లేనిది విశ్వవాసవి భక్త ఐకమత్యం. సంస్కృతి కావగశత విధ యత్నము చేస్తుంది నిత్యం. విద్యకు దాతక ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, వైద్యము దాతక ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, మానవ సేవకు ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ మాధ్యమమైపోయే. పెళ్లికి ఆసర ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, పేదల నేస్తము ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ, సమాజ సేవతో ఎన్ఆర్ఐబీఏ సార్థకమైపోయే.
NRIVA Mission 1, being one with everybody, with the universe and everybody. I've been a Ishaite myself for the past 8 years, and my life has changed like millions of others ever since. And all thanks to Sadhguru and the entire Isha volunteers, the wonderful, greatest volunteers in the world ever. But that aside, basically Isha అనగానే మనందరికీ గుర్తొచ్చేది యోగా మెడిటేషన్ మాత్రమే కాదు. యోగా మెడిటేషన్తో పాటు మనిషిగా మనం ఎలా బ్రతకాలి, ఒక పరిపూర్ణమైన జీవితాన్ని మనం ఎలా బ్రతకాలి, హౌ టు బీ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద యూనివర్స్ దట్ హెస్ క్రియేటెడ్ అస్ అండ్ హౌ టు బీ inclusive and how to be complete within us is what we all learn. And once again, let me remind you, Sadhguru will be up here in very few minutes. So please be seated. Please do not go around. Please maintain calmness here. Let's welcome him with all our hearts. అండ్ ఐ రియలీ కెనాట్ స్ట్రెస్ దిస్ ఇనఫ్. మనం ఎంత కామ్గా, మనం ఎంత ప్రశాంతంగా ఉండగలిగితే ఆయన నుంచి గ్రేస్ అంత అందుకునే పరిస్థితిలో మనం ఉంటాము. సో ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ యూ ఆల్ టు ప్లీజ్ సిట్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ డౌన్. దయచేసి అందరూ కూర్చోండి, కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఆస్వాదిద్దాము. సద్గురు గారిని వేదిక మీదకి ఆహ్వానించడానికి సుధాకర్ పెన్నం గారిని వేదిక మీద రావాల్సిందిగా ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాను నేను. మరొకసారి మీ అందరికీ మీ సెల్ ఫోన్స్ సైలెంట్ చేసుకోవాల్సిందిగా కోరుకుంటూ అందరూ కూర్చోవాల్సిందిగా కూడా తెలియజేస్తున్నాను నేను. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
Good morning. Over the years, Sadhguru has launched Mecca ecological initiatives, the movements, rallies for rivers, and Kaveri calling to address the urgent need to revitalize Indian rivers and issues related to soil, water, and climate change. And more recently, Sadhguru started Save Soil, the largest global ecological initiative aimed at addressing soil degradation, reaching 3.9 billion people. Sadhguru traveled from London to India, covering 30,000 kilometers in 100 days, traversing 27 countries, meeting with heads of state, ministers, farmers, leaders, the public, working with global agencies like United Nations and the World Economic Forum. Speaking about the urgent need to enact policies to protect our planet's soil for the sake of our children. We'll be watching a short video with highlights of this moment.
A 100-day journey spanning 30,000 kilometers
from London to India as part of a Save Soil campaign.
Its aim is to activate the support of over 3.5 billion people
to change the world and make it a better place.
It's a great pleasure for me. These beautiful Caribbean nations are going for this first.
This memorandum of understanding that we are signing, it will also bring some technical assistance to the Caribbean region.
This is a historic moment because here is the first step to turn around.
It is not about the motorcycle, it's not about the journey, it's not about the song, it is about moving people on the planet. Make it happen, huh?
Excitement, and everybody is so excited to hear Sadhguru.
It's our common issue together. It's not for one nation, for one person, but we as people have to unite and to solve this.
All of us have been part of this destruction. The only way is all of us become part of the solution also. Riding on to Italy. Italy is raining heavily tonight. The most dangerous thing has been the winds. Sometimes winds were gusting around 65 knots. So literally my front wheel was just lifting up like it's a balloon. Over 2,000 years ago, this eternal city made the mistake of overfarming the region. The Romans of today should never make that mistake once again.
And we are very happy that we are aligned in our message to really hide the profile of soils.
It's a message of urgency, but it's also a message of hope. So I would really like to thank Sadhguru for his leadership.
Fantastic. France has been great.
We should all stand up and make the most impact we can to create a real change in the world.
save the soil.
And a super enthusiastic crowd committing themselves to make this happen.
Save the soil is a very important movement that we support as UNCC.
We need to do everything to protect it and prevent harm to the soil.
These days, the modern mothers, if children go and put their hands in the soil and come, they say, your hands are dirty. No, they're not dirty. You are touching the source of your life.
People from Istanbul were really amazed by Sadhguru to appear, and they were just so happy to see him.
I salute you and I respect your initiative and my full support.
Dear Sadhguru, one of the world's voices and leaders on soil conservation and land.
So it's extremely important. It must be a single point agenda, incentive-based agenda. I don't want this COP15 to end as one more convention with more paper and more paper. This must end with concrete action.
You honor the country, you honor the people of this country.
And the Turba safe soil.
His thoughts and philosophies goes across all cultures and religion.
930 kilometers, which means probably we'll have to ride the whole night.
My dear brother Sadhguru, I would like to thank you for including the United Arab Emirates in your inspiring journey.
There are no words to describe what it means to be back in India.
सद्गुरु जी ने यात्रा की, दुनिया को मिट्टी के प्रति स्नेह तो पैदा हुआ ही होगा, लेकिन भारत की मिट्टी की ताकत का भी परिचय मिला होगा।
As a capital city, you have a more important responsibility. Let's make it happen.
मुझे लगता है उत्तर प्रदेश की 25 करोड़ जनता इस पूरे अभियान के साथ जुड़ेगी।
मैं ये वचन देता हूं कि मिट्टी बचाओ अभियान में आपके पीछे हम कदम से कदम और कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर साथ चलेंगे।
We are committed to this cause, and I'm here to say that Maharashtra आपल्या सोबत आहे, ईशा फाउंडेशनच्या सोबत आहे आणि सेफ सॉइलच्या सोबत आहे।
everything under the command to save soil. So as I park here, it's 27,854 kilometers.
For next 12 months, this is your daily puja. That for 10 to 12 minutes a day, you will spread the soil message.
Isn't it amazing? We need the same silence, no standing to click pictures, please. Humble request. Now I request President Hari Raini Garu, Chairman Director Jaisima Sunku, Convener Dinkar Karmuri, General Secretary Ravi Lindala, President-elect Srinivasrao Pandri, and Convention co-governors, conveners, and Convention Secretary to accompany Sadhguru Garu onto the stage. President and Chairman Garu will be honoring Sadhguru.
Kalo na janati tava jananam Kalo na janati tava samapanam Drushto maya tava mahakara Yogeshwara Kala Kala Yogeshwar Kala Kala. Namaskaram. Andarku vandanamalu. In the grace of Devi, Vasavi, you as a community have grown, been great entrepreneurs, thrived and prospered no matter where you're put. I'm glad to see in North America, the Vaishya community has grown to be what it is. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm saying this because just today somebody was asking me, it's crazy that I have to bring this up because it came up just now. They were asking me, Sadhguru, is there any one question that you cannot answer? I said this question. So let me, because you're a close-knit community, I'm sure you'll keep my secrets. Let me tell you that I know nothing about anything. I know just one thing. I know this piece of life, from its origin to its ultimate. I only talk about this one, but others assume I'm talking about them. Because fortunately, life is made like this at the very core. Every life is made the same way. But I'm only talking about this one, never about anything else. When I say this one, as individual bodies, the volume a little, there's a feedback, please. See, that is your body, this is my body. This is what we think. Till one day, somebody buries us. It'll happen. I'll bless you with a long life, but anyway it'll happen. Hello? Save soil. At least for that there must be soil, you know. When they bury us, if they happen to bury you and me in close-up graves, then we will lose the distinction of which is my body, which is your body. Hello? Same soil. Right now this is my mind and that's your mind. Here and there we can overlap, that's your mind, this is my mind, distinctly there. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. When I say life, I'm talking about the life. Right now, many of you might have slowly changed the definition of life. When you say life, when generally people say life, I am supposed to understand they're talking about their home, their family, their work, their car, maybe their dog. When they say my life, they're talking about the accessories of life. The accessories are made or accessories are gathered to fulfill the purpose of life, to facilitate life. They are meaningless by their own nature. Have you ever been to a funeral? Hello? Some funeral. The younger people, you must attend funerals because it's very important. Not for the dead, they're gone. For us, it's very important because if you see this man, I'm choosing a man, not a lady, okay? If you see this guy who is the main person in the funeral, who is dead, perfect posture, always. You tell him, I got $1 billion for you. Hello? You tell him, I got a mountain of gold for you. Do whatever. What's happened to him? He was interested in all these things just a little while ago. What happened to him? This is all. Once life is taken out of this, oh, we are not interested in anything. Because all these are just accessories to enhance this life, to support this life, not to weigh this life down. So what we gather, how we hold it, becomes very important. Can I tell you a joke? You're becoming very serious. The reason why the very simple aspects of life doesn't get across to most human beings is they're dead serious about themselves. Why have they become so serious? Because they have taken themselves too seriously. They have become very important. In their own perception, they've become very big. See, in this cosmos, nobody knows where it begins, where it ends. Neither the religion nor the science is able to tell you where does this cosmos begin, where does it end, what is its nature. Hello? Neither your scriptures nor your science textbooks can tell you this, yes or no? Hello, are we in talking terms? Huh? Neither your religion nor your science can tell you what is the size of this cosmos, where does it begin, where does it end? We don't know, it's that vast. In this, almost in our perception, a limitless cosmos, the solar system in which we exist is a tiny speck. In this tiny speck, planet Earth is a microspeck. In that microspeck, United States is another speck. In that, Chicago is a super microspeck. In that, you are a big man. This is a clear lack of perspective. It's a complete lack of perspective as to who we are, what we are in this existence, both in terms of time that we occupy and the space that we occupy. We are too minuscule, not even a speck of dust, isn't it so? Hello? If we are conscious of this, that the time and space that we occupy is such a minuscule, especially time, that means, I don't know at what time they made you sit here. 4 days. Okay then, since the conference started, you're 4 days closer to your grave. I can teach you some tricks as to how to kick the can a little bit. But with yoga, without yoga, we'll still die. Blessing, no blessing, you'll still die. Hello? We can push it a little bit. I'll bless you with a long life, but we all die. We are the dying sort of life. Hello? Right now, what is ticking away here is not the clock. It's our life, it's just slipping away. If you just think about it once in a way, maybe you will become paranoid. But if you're conscious of it every moment, only if you're conscious of it every moment, you will become a sensible life, because now you have a clear perspective that you are on a very short leash of time. Space, of course, you're a minuscule. Even in time, it is a speck of time. If we are conscious of this, will we invest our life upon the life that we are or upon the accessories? Accessories to the extent it is necessary, nothing more, nothing less. What is necessary is not for me to decide for you. It is your choice. But you must at least go by your choice. But right now, if your neighbor is wearing 2 kilograms of gold, you want to wear 3, this is not good. If you like 3, you wear 3. I have no issues about that. But you're trying to be better than somebody, in this speck of time that we have will go waste. Because if I'm trying to be better than you, my life is wasted running after you, isn't it? Hello? What accessories a given person needs is their choice. Somebody just lives with one cow pinam, that's their life. They have chosen to be like that. Somebody dresses up a little more, somebody needs a big home, somebody needs a car, somebody needs a plane. It's all right, but it must be your choice. It should not be determined by what's happening around you. To facilitate this life to its fullest possibility, for this life to find full potential in the world, what kind of accessories do I need? Maybe you need a spacecraft, it's okay with me. But that must be a conscious decision and a conscious pursuit, not a compulsive process because somebody else has it. I'm saying this because the life that you are and the life that I am and the life that's all around you is essentially the same life. It is just that is your body, this is my body, this is my mind, this is your mind. It's fine, but I want you to understand, even the physical body that you have is an accessory for life. You gathered it. Were you born like this? Hello? Were you born like this? Come on. Were you born like this? You were born like this, helpless little baby. See, you become like this now. How did all this gather? Nippattu, Kodbalai, Yennuntlu. No, I know what you eat. The food that we've eaten is sitting here as the body, or the soil that we woke upon is sitting here as the body. Will we understand this now? Will we realize this now? Or will we know it only when we are buried? This is a choice that individual human being has. If you know it now, you will organize your life as it is best for your life. Not run after this person or that person, not try to be better than somebody else, because you can never be better than somebody else, because somebody else will always be better than you in something or the other. You may have money, they may have something else. You may have this, they may have that. Hello? So it's very important that we understand that this is a living cosmos. Everything here is alive. It's not just a human being. The animals, insects, worms, plants, trees, the very soil that you walk upon is a living entity. Soil is the largest living system, not just upon this planet, in the known universe. Zillions of lives, trillions of species. The top soil scientists in the world are openly admitting that they know only less than 1% of the species of life present in the soil. When you know less than 1%, you should not mess with it, isn't it? Hello? When you know less than 1%, are you qualified to mess with anything? So this life that I call as myself right now is like, at least when you were in school, did you blow some soap bubbles? So you and me are blowing soap bubbles. My bubble is this big, yours is this. And I say, no, I'm just being mean, that's all. It's okay. I say, see the big bubble, this is my bubble. But both went poop. Bigger ones go poop earlier. Now you don't say, this is my air, that's your air. This is all it is. You've blown one kind of bubble, I've blown another kind of bubble. But how much air or how much life you put into this will determine how significant a life you will become. Right now, in many ways, this race to acquire wealth, to acquire money, to acquire power, to acquire many things in that life is essentially to make life significant. Hello? In some way you want to become significant. This happened. The last time I was in United States about 4.5 months ago, there was a young man who was running around like his tail was on fire. Then I say, hey, what's happening with you? He said, Sadhguru, I want to make $1 billion, I want to earn $1 billion. I said, only 1 billion, don't worry, tomorrow morning I'll give you $1 billion. He said, really? Sadhguru, you will give me $1 billion? Yes, I will give you $1 billion tomorrow morning. But he had come with 8 of his friends. I said, see, your friends, 8 guys, I will give each one of them $10 billion tomorrow morning. Sadhguru, why they getting 10, I getting only 1? I said, you only asked for 1? Just now your life's aspiration was to earn $1 billion. When I say I will give you, suddenly you're unhappy because somebody has 10. I'm saying this is a madness, because it's not the number. It is not the number, it is you're trying to be significant. I don't have, but by gathering big muscles among people who don't have muscles, you feel very significant. But this happened. Can I tell you a story? See, to tell a story, you must be in the right mode. When I say once upon a time, you should say, Otherwise, how to tell a story? Tell a story. How to tell a story to you? You won't get it. Once upon a time, the king of the jungle, the lion, was strutting around in an open space in the jungle. A little rabbit took looking for something to eat he was doing. The lion just caught him like that. Said, roared, who is the king of the jungle? The rabbit squeaked, oh my lord, it's you, of course it's you, who else can be, it's you or the lord. Let him go. And strutted around a little more. Then a fox was slinking around because fox is looking, if the lion kills something, he will also get something. He saw the fox and caught him. Who is the king of the jungle? Oh my lord, what, you king of the jungle? You are the king of the universe, you know, it's a fox. You are the king of the universe. He felt really good, let him go, and really started strutting around, and then he came to a small clearing in the forest. There was a huge tusker standing around. He came there and roared at him, who is the king of the jungle? The tusker, without a word, put his trunk, picked him up, twirled him around and smashed him to the ground. His back broke. He said, you could have told me. The tusker said, well, I had to make the point, you know. So, If your significance of life is only because of what you have gathered, it will be like this till you meet something bigger, till you confront something bigger. The significance of life should not be because of what we have gathered. Significance of life is because of life itself. If just sitting here, you have to know the significance of life, then you must gather more life. There is a way. You can gather more body, you can gather more mind, you can gather more money, more wealth, more everything. Similarly, you can gather more life itself, the fundamental life. Then if you sit here, it's not just for you, for every life around you, you will be a significant presence, not because of what you do, not because of what you have, simply because of who you are. This must happen to every human being. You must make use of Vasavi Devi's grace, not just to gather things, but to make the life process itself significant. The whole science of yoga, or what we refer to as in engineering today, is just this: how to enhance the life that you are. If you sit here, not in comparison to something, not in comparison to somebody, not in comparison to accumulations that you have and somebody else has, just the life that you are feels absolutely significant and wonderful just to be alive. Because the greatest thing right now that you have is you're alive. Is anything more than that you have? Hello? This is the only thing you have. Rest is all your imagination. I have $1 billion. It's in your mind. If I take away your memory, you're gone. Your $1 billion is gone, isn't it? And if everybody has $10 billion, your $1 billion is gone. To have and to enjoy something that somebody does not have is like this. Let's say you said you've been sitting here for 4 days. 4 days you have not eaten, you're like this. I have eaten well. No, even I have not eaten today, but let's say I've eaten well. All of you have not eaten 4 days. I look at you and I feel very happy. Nobody has eaten, I have eaten well. Tell me, is this joy or sickness? If you enjoy what somebody does not have, that is sickness, isn't it? To enjoy what you have is important, but you need to understand the only thing that you really have is you're alive right now. You have $1 billion, you have to remember, isn't it? Hello, you have to remember. If you sleep, you'll forget that you have $1 billion. If you remember, you cannot sleep. Only if you forget all the nonsense you're carrying in your life. What is socially empowering is not about life. What facilitates your life on the level of social existence is not the life process. Do not misunderstand your psychological, physiological and social processes as life. Because life is there, we made all these arrangements. So how to enhance this life is very important. Other things we enhance to the extent it's necessary. Beyond that, it's actually problematic. Now, once life is not enhanced, just about anything and everything people will suffer. See, right now you just look at this in the world and see, what is that one thing that human beings are not suffering? Well, if they're poor, they suffer their poverty. If they become rich, they suffer the taxes. I was in London and somebody that I know, well, they made a lot of money, so they moved to Switzerland because the UK taxes were too high. they move to Switzerland. But their home is in London. So they have some 90 days or 120 days or something. They can only stay in their home for 90 days. They have to leave and go to Switzerland and come back. They've been doing this. Now they're over 70 years of age, they're tired. And now, in Switzerland, the taxes have gone up. They want to move to the Jersey… what's that island? Not New Jersey, what is that island there? Jersey, huh? There's some tax-free island, they want to move there. I said, see, there is a very beautiful poem by, I think it's Basavana's or Allama Mahaprabhu's poem, I cannot repeat it, but it talks about how to dodge taxes. A man walked in all kinds of forest streets, the forest roads, avoiding the main road. But then by the time he reached there was a small hole in the sack and all the grain went away. Your grain is going away, hello? Moment by moment, minute by minute, life is going away. This is the most precious one. How to enhance this life? Because when I say enhance this life, there are only two aspects to your life. One is profoundness of experience. Pleasantness of experience and profoundness of experience, we'll put that as one. And the next is impactfulness of your activity. Whatever you do, how impactful you are, this all you got? Do you have something else? Pleasantness and profoundness of experience, impactfulness of what we do, this is all there is. It's very important that we focus to start with on pleasantness of experience. When I say pleasantness of experience, if you sit here, if your body is pleasant, we say this is health. You want it? I have noted about 7 people want health. From now on, when I ask you a question, yes, no, silence. Accordingly, I'm going to bless you. So for health, I'll give you one more chance. Pleasantness of body means you're healthy. You want it? If the body becomes very pleasant, we call it pleasure. If your mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love. There's a little voice saying, yes, they're out there. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this blissfulness. They're moved. If this life energies become extremely pleasant, we call this ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call this success. Now, to make your surroundings pleasant, it depends in the times and places where you exist. The people around you, the forces around you, will they allow you to create a pleasant atmosphere or not? It's always a challenge. It depends upon your skills, your capabilities, your competence, and above all, in the time in which we exist. Yes? So, creating pleasantness of surroundings has many challenges. It is the way it is. But pleasantness of body, pleasantness of mind, pleasantness of emotion, pleasantness of energy is 100% your business. Huh? It's 100% your business. So being joyful, being peaceful, being wonderful within yourself is absolutely your business. When we try to create pleasantness around us, well, we have to manage all these people. Right now, in this hall, if just one person goes crazy, keeping this hall pleasant will be very difficult, isn't it? Because pleasantness of situations is like this, it is dependent upon so many things. It will go up, it will go down, sometimes it works your way, sometimes it doesn't work your way. Even if you're just two people in the family, has the situations worked 100% the way you want it? Never happened, never happened. 51% your way means you have the controlling stake at home. If you try 100%, nobody will be with you. Yes or no? If you try 100% your way, no human being will be around you, then you will try to settle for the dog. Because dog is there's an advantage with a dog. It is a 12-year guaranteed love affair. As long as you're willing to replace it every 12 years, you're quite fine. But these days even the dogs do their own thing. Never has it ever happened to you that any one human being, whether your parents or teachers or husband or wife or children or anybody, has ever happened 100% your way. Has anybody happened like that? No. It doesn't matter. They need not be 100% your way. But this one person must be your way 100%, isn't it? This one person. If this one person was your way, would you keep him blissful or miserable, tell me? See, that simple. Right now, this one person is not happening your way, that's the main problem. That person, they'll happen their own way. We'll manage them to the extent we can. Sometimes we can manage them, sometimes we cannot manage them. Hello? But this one person must happen your way. If this one is not happening your way, that means you are the main impediment in your own life. You know, people come to me and say, Sadhguru, my mother-in-law… Yeah, I didn't say anything. My mother-in-law, she's impossible, Sadhguru. And my husband, after all, her son, what to do? And my boss, he's not even human, my neighbor, he's a creature. I say, you come, don't worry about all of them. Come to the yoga center, I'll give you a nice place to stay, good food to eat. No husband, no wife, no mother-in-law, no boss, nobody. Just stay here. You don't have to do anything. We'll feed you well, we'll take care of you. Only thing is, you must be joyful. I will do random checks on you. If I find you miserable, I don't believe in feeding misery, so we'll stop feeding you. Hello? Correct or no? If you're joyful, we'll feed you, take care of you. If you're miserable, why do you need food? It's just being wasted, isn't it? Because to make food for you, so many other creatures have to sacrifice their lives, isn't it? Plant life, animal life, all kinds of things. What right do you have to eat and sustain misery? Huh? If you're blissful, joyful, wonderful to yourself and everybody, please, you must be taken care of by this planet, otherwise why? But 2 days I leave them in this room and I go to see them, they are already twisted themselves, Sadhguru, I'm missing home, I want to go home. I thought it's you, at home your mother-in-law is there, the terrible husband is there, the wife is there. I thought you came running here. No, Sadhguru, I want to go. So, if you are miserable when you're alone, you're obviously in bad company, isn't it? Hello? If I'm with you and I'm miserable, I can say it's because of you I'm miserable. I'm sitting here alone and miserable. Bad company, isn't it? If you don't fix this one company, it doesn't matter what you have. You may live in a palace and be miserable. You may be living with the most wonderful man or woman and still miserable. You may have everything that everybody is dreaming of and still miserable, yes or no? Because you not fixed this one thing. If this one person is not fixed, everything is like this. This happened. One more story, you're okay? I'm always checking because for a whole lot of people, the moment you say once upon a time, they think it's bedtime. That's the only time they were told stories, especially in America. This was not once upon a time, I'm not taking that risk again. A lady went to sleep. What happened? A lady went to sleep. In her sleep, she had a dream. What happened? In her dream, she saw a hunk of a man standing there and staring at her. Then he started coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. He came so close, she could even feel his breath. Then she trembled, not in fear. And then she asked, "What will you do to me?" The man said, "Well, lady, it's your dream." Right now, what's happening in your head is your dream. Your dream should at least happen your way. Hello? Life around you is not happening your way, that's understandable. But your dream at least must happen your way, isn't it? So, you are 8 years of age, not 8 billion or something, don't go on thinking like that. When you were 8 years of age, I understand you did not figure how to handle your thought and emotion. You became 16. Well, you still did not figure how to handle your thought and emotion. All right, you were hijacked by your hormones, so you're going a little crazy. All right, you are 30. You still do not know how to handle your thought and emotion. You're 50, you still do not know how to handle your thought and emotion. I just want to know what is your lifespan. Are you a millionaire? No, I don't mean millionaire. Are you a million-year life? Huh? Because some of you are calling yourself millennials, I don't know what that means. Maybe you're going to live for a millennium or you think so? In an effectively 65 to 70 years of effective life, all right? Even if you live healthy and well. In this 30, 40 years, if you've not figured how to use your thought and emotion for your well-being, oh, this is a crippled life. Hello? Yes or no? Right now, even so-called spiritual leaders are going about saying peace of mind is the ultimate goal of life. Such people will only rest in peace. Because today, if you want to enjoy your lunch today, even if you're not bursting with ecstasy, at least you must be peaceful, isn't it? Huh? If you want to enjoy the company of the person who is sitting next to you right now, even if you're not oozing love, at least you must be peaceful. Yes or no? And it's one more day of conference or today it's closing? This is the last day. So 4 days, whatever happened, if you want to enjoy the remaining part of this conference, even if you're not an exuberant fountain of life, at least you must be peaceful. Yes or no? So I'm asking you, is peace the ultimate goal of life or is it the most fundamental requirement? To do anything sensible, you need to be at least peaceful, isn't it? But today, if you say peace, people say divine peace. If you say love, they say God is love. And sometimes wonder, has it been misspelt? You're not getting it. No, not me, I didn't say anything. Maybe somebody was dyslexic. Hello? They kind of misplaced the alphabets. If you say bliss, they say divine bliss. These are all human qualities. When you're willing, you can be peaceful, you can be loving, you can be blissful. You're capable of these things or no? You are. Only problem is sustainability. With everything else, the same problem. You're not able to sustain this 24 hours of the day, that's the only problem, isn't it? It's not that you don't know joy, it's not that you don't know bliss, it's not that you don't know peace. But outside situations throw you off. You're not able to sustain. But if you're able to be peaceful for one moment, one more moment, one more moment, one more moment, possible, isn't it? Hello? Just that there has been no focus in that direction because we thought something else is more important. How you're experiencing your life right now is the most important aspect, isn't it? Only to enhance the experience of your life, you want to live in a better house, you want to have money, you want to have wealth, you want to have so many arrangements, because why? To enhance the experience of life, yes or no? But you're driving your dream car and Chicago, traffic. You're made to enjoy your dream car for another 2 hours extra. Oh, you freak! After all, before you bought this car, many of you, maybe some of you don't know the difference, but for many of you, you saw the advertisement, you saw the pictures, you saw the paint, you saw this, wow, I want to have this car, I want to have this car. You measured it and saw, is it 3 inches longer than your neighbor's car? Everything you did. But now if the traffic people, those who blocked the roads for you for whatever reasons, make you enjoy this dream car little longer, you're freaking. Life is like this, because what you gather will never ever enhance your life. This life has to be made in such a way that if it sits here, it's wonderful. Now if it's wonderful, you can eat good food, very wonderful. You can live in a great house, wonderful. Everything is wonderful right now. If you sit on a rock or on a sofa, it is still wonderful. When I was in this motorcycle journey, many people predicting, oh, he won't make it, he will die. 30,000 kilometers. 30,000 kilometers in 100 days, I did 697 events along the way. So people said he won't make it. Then others said if he makes it also, his back will break. Motorcyclists, people who are regularly into motorcycles, they coming and tell me, Sadhguru, your back will disintegrate at the kind of pace you've set for yourself. And our volunteers have such faith in me, they have not built 1 day contingency either for the man or the machine. Fortunately, the machine didn't give up. So I said, see, don't worry about my back, about my heart, about my head, because sometimes the temperatures were 54 degrees centigrade. When I was driving in Saudi Arabia and Oman, 54 degrees on the road. My bones were melting away. I said, don't worry about me, I'll get there. Not because I'm a superhuman, because I have realized being human is absolutely super. It is just that you're not at ease. You're always trying to do things like this, so everything hurts. Because you're addressing life with a certain resistance, not realizing the life within and the life without are the same things. See, is all the Vaishya community, do you breathe? I'm just checking. Hello? You breathe. No, don't say simply, just check and see, are you breathing? No, it's not a joke because one day somebody will check and say, not breathing. One day somebody will say or no. So today you're breathing. This means what? Unconsciously, you're inhaling life, isn't it? What you inhale is what the trees exhale. What you exhale is what the trees inhale. So, one half of your lungs are actually hanging out there. Literally. Yes or no? So, how can you say you're an individual life? You being an individual is a very psychological affair. Existentially, be an individual for 10 minutes and show me. That means no connection with the rest of the world. Show me, is it possible? The food that you eat is connecting you to the soil, the water that you drink is connecting to everything that is water in this world. The air that you breathe is your connection with the atmosphere. Are you happening as one large phenomena of life, or are you really an individual? You are not an absolute individual. Individuality is only in your psychological space, in your thought and emotion. If you loosen this a little bit, then we say you are in yoga. Yoga means, because you're right now living in United States, your idea of yoga is you must look like a leftover noodle. No, yoga means union. You're breathing. Are you one with the atmosphere or not? But you do not know the joy of being one with the atmosphere. If you feel little close to somebody in your life, little bit of love happens, you feel very good. But you're being one with the whole atmosphere. No experience? What a misfortune. Hello? Yes or no? You're being one with the whole world, but no experience, because anything that you're unconscious of, you cannot experience nor will you ever know. Right now, there is a huge dinosaur at the back of this hall. Don't turn back, hello? Come on. But you're unaware of it. It doesn't exist for you, isn't it? Whatever you're unaware of doesn't exist for you. So this is why even the Save Soil movement is run under the banner of Conscious Planet, because without a human being becoming conscious, he will miss everything. In a day, in 24 hours' time, how many moments are you even conscious that I am human, I am alive? No. It's going on. Hello? I'm not saying you should not do all those things, but all those things you can do by being conscious, then what you are doing in 12 hours will come down to 3 to 4 hours. Then your life will multiply 4 times over in terms of impact, in terms of what you do in the world. The moment you're not conscious, unknowingly you become constipated life. Constipated means, it happens little by little. That's constipation. Life is happening little by little. When were you happy? The day I got married, I was very happy. Whether you're happy on that one day or not, I don't care. Are you happy now? This moment is most important, isn't it? Hello? This happened, I was to speak at Tel Aviv and I was flying out of Atlanta. Due to some delays in flight, I was to land there around 11:30 in the morning and speak at 6:30 in the evening, but I landed at 6 o'clock in the evening. So I'm quickly changing, because I'm flying an American airline and there's nothing edible on that plane, you know. You also? Nothing edible there. So I'm super hungry, but I have no time because 6:30 I have to speak, and I have this problem. In the last 40 years, I have not been late to a single event in my life. No, don't. No. See, you're thinking that's some kind of an achievement. That is the most fundamental thing you can fulfill, isn't it? Once you're born, without fail, you will die when things fail, isn't it? On time, you will die, believe me. So everything else must happen on time because life is a certain arrangement of time and energy. Energies we can manage, time is rolling away at the same pace. So being on time is not about punctuality, it is you're conscious that life is brief, there's nothing to push. So I quickly change in the airport and go straight. This never happens to me, but on that day, I was speaking at a fine restaurant. When you're that hungry, just the place. So I walked in. Restaurants are known for different things. Some restaurants are known for the taste of the food. Some restaurants are known for their ambience. Some restaurants are famous because of the conversations that happen in that restaurant. So this is that kind of restaurant where the most intelligent conversations in Tel Aviv happen in this restaurant, not in the parliament. See, this is a universal thing. So I walked in and people are already there and they're greeting me, and one man comes up to me and says, "Shalom." I ask him, what does it mean? He says, "It's the highest way of greeting." I said, "See, that's your opinion, but please tell me, what does it mean?" He said, No, really, this is the highest way of greeting." All right, what does the word mean? Then he says, "It means peace." I say, "See, why would peace be the highest way of greeting unless you're born in Middle East?" In South India, if you come up to me in the morning and say, "Peace," I'll say, "What's wrong with you?" So anything that you deny yourself slowly rises itself to heaven. Peace, heavenly peace. Bliss, heavenly bliss. Everything goes up there. These are all things you should not export. You must keep it here. Here. Hello? Your peacefulness, your blissfulness, your love, it must here, it's only here it's relevant. There I don't know whether you need it or not. Hello? You must keep it here, in your home, in your workplace, on the street. If you can look upon people joyfully, lovingly, you don't have to do anything. If you can just look upon people with certain sense of joy and love, your world will change. But for that, this has to change. You have to engineer this in such a way, it is the way you want it, because I want you to understand the word engineering. We will say this hall is well engineered, this building is well engineered, only it fulfills the purpose of what we want to do with this hall, isn't it? You will say, my car is very well engineered, only when it functions the way you want it. Similarly, this is well engineered only when it does what you want. I'll ask you once again just to confirm. Peace or turmoil, what do you want? Joy or misery, what do you want? Love or hate, what do you want? Oh, then what's the problem? You know everything. You know everything. You just know everything. Now, to be peaceful, to be joyful, to be loving is not the ultimate goal of life. This is an ambience. If you create this ambience, this life will blossom. Now we are talking about raising the organic content in the soil. That's not the goal. If you do that, life will blossom. Thank you very much. Please, please.
Good morning. Sadhguru, you're talking about save the soil, 100 days, a two-wheeler, driving so many days, 697 events, so stressful for us to see. Why a two-wheeler, why not a car?
See, I've been talking about soil for over 30 years. I've been talking to agriculture ministries, environment ministries, bureaucrats, some of the world, country heads, all sorts of people, soil scientists. Everybody, when I speak to them, they say, Sadhguru, what you're saying is really great, this is very important, fantastic. And they will use that as a pillow for that night's sleep. They'll sleep on it. I have been talking to ordinary people, all kinds of people, but everybody sleeps on it. So I thought I had to do something before I'm too old and no good for anything. What is it that I have? Do I hold some official position somewhere? Am I a prime minister or a president or a minister, something? I'm nothing. The only thing that I have is people's love and goodwill. I thought I'll play a little yo-yo with their hearts. So, if I walk from London to Kaveri, it's sure death, it's suicide. If I cycle, I know I haven't cycled for many years, that is also certain death. Motorcycle, possible death. But if you handle it right, here I am. So I took this risk because the only way to awaken the world was to put myself to some kind of serious risk. Otherwise, I've spoken for 30 years. People say, yes, great, sleep. And there are a whole lot of other forces. They're writing articles in international magazines saying that tree planting is dangerous for the earth. Yes, I want you to read them. Even now recently, one of the American news agencies is writing some rubbish about us. I'm saying there are also forces like this who doesn't want anything good to happen. Because only problems are their investment in life. If there are no problems, they will not thrive. They need something ugly to be happening on a daily basis. If everything goes well, they'll be out of business. So with considering all this, I had to take a step which is of risk. Even now, after riding a motorcycle, when I land in Delhi, an international media comes to me and says, "You're riding this fat, big, luxurious motorcycle." I said, "Stop, man. Have you ever ridden a motorcycle?" He said, "No." Then shut up. You ride 30,000 kilometers and then understand whether it's a luxury or your ass falls off. You better know that. Yes. You just don't know nothing if you think a motorcycle is luxurious. It is large so that it survives 30,000 kilometers. Then I asked him, "What other means of transport do you think I should have used?" He says, "You could have used public transport." He wants me to go into DTC bus and travel 27 countries. I'm saying all these kinds of things are there. To beat all this down, I had to put my life to risk. Well, people won't understand what this is. When you ride some days anywhere between 12 to 18 hours a day when you're on the go, and you're doing interviews and interviews when you're riding, media interviews, television interviews you're doing, well, there is enormous amount of risk. Those who have any sense understand the risk, and that is why 3.9 billion people are on. So, motorcycle is not… People think, oh, Sadhguru loves motorcycles. They need to know, I rode motorcycles when I was very young. But for 32 years, I never sat on a motorcycle, nor did I even think of one. Only when I was on Rally for Rivers, around Bangalore city, people who knew my motorcycling past, they brought a motorcycle and said, Sadhguru, why don't you ride? I thought, after 32 years, can I really ride this machine? But then I went and just sat on it. Then I realized I haven't lost a day. Since then, I've been only traveling on the motorcycle. People do not know this, I traveled across 17 Native American nations in North America, in United States. That is 20 states. I covered over 10,600 miles in 36 days. This… one second, please. This is not because of love for motorcycle. People think I enjoy particular things. No, I am joyful. Whatever I do, I enjoy. If I walk, I enjoy it. If I cycle, I enjoy it. If I motorcycle, I enjoy it. If I fly, I enjoy it. If I don't do anything, that's the best thing. So it's not about the joy of motorcycle. I don't ever think motorcycle is joyful. I am joyful, all right? Motorcycle is not joyful, something else is not joyful, only this can be joyful, isn't it? So the motorcycle ride was calibrated, and if I say this to our own people internally, slowly a mountain of opposition will build. So I formed a separate organization. The core volunteers in Isha who've been with me for 25–30 years, I never told them anything about Conscious Planet movement. Only 8 people. Here in United States, I formed a separate organization. With 8 people, we figured out a few basic things. And only on 3rd of January, I called around 20 core volunteers in Isha and told them, see, I'm planning something like… They said, Sadhguru, we'll do it 2023 because just 2 months we can't do it. I said, date has been fixed, I'm riding on 21st of March. And I announced to the larger meditator groups only on Mahashivratri night, which was 1st of March. 21st of March we took off. And our volunteers are such incredible people, on the way in 27 nations without a single hitch. 100 days, without a single hitch. Whether it is logistics or meeting the right kind of people, the ministries and things, everything, without a single hitch, the whole thing was done. Well, why means, because I do things the way it works, that's important for me. What do you think? Anything that we do must be done the way it works. If I fly around and do this, you think people would pay attention? If I drive around, would it get the attention? Motorcycle did it.
Sadhguru, can you please tell us about Isha Home School? Is Isha Home School opening in Tennessee Ashram in near future?
So, homeschool is a certain module. We have 3 levels of education. One is Isha Vidya, which is done in rural India, where we are providing the kind of education that urban children get in very remote places. This is mainly run as a passport. People who are stuck in social and economic conditions that they will never get out of it if they don't have a ladder to climb, if somebody doesn't hold their hand. So these schools are created so that rural children will find access to the world. This is run in a certain way. The next school is called Isha Samskriti. Isha Samskriti, if you want to admit your children, you must commit for a minimum of 12 years. They come in at the age of 17 and stay till 19. Here, there is no formal education. There is no regular education, there is only classical music, classical dance, yoga, Kalaripaitu, which is a martial art, Sanskrit language and English language. So they don't learn anything else. Some practical things like accounts and banking and stuff to manage their life. I think only that part of your education you're really using in your business. Rest of it is your own ingenuity, isn't it, largely? What you read through primary school, you don't remember, nor has it come into play in from most people's lives. The third is what you mentioned, Isha Homeschool. Here the school is run like this. 20 children live in a household, living with dedicated parents. 4 years they live with them, next 4 years they live with the next set of parents, like this. These are committed volunteers. These are not professional teachers. As a rule, we don't take professional teachers. These are highly educated volunteers, they may be doctors, accountants, engineers, something, but we train them in a certain way because this is not about standing on the pulpit and telling the children, you should know this, you should know that, I know this, you don't know this. This is about you also learning with the children to set up that inquisitiveness in the child. And except for laboratories, library and playgrounds, largely they grow up within the household. This is why it is called a homeschool. For this we need large acreage, we can't just put it in some city. So in India, I think we have about 125 acres of our own land, plus we have 10,000 square miles of rainforest behind us, which is all ours for enjoyment. We don't own it. Because I only look at life like this, we don't own a damn thing. Hello? It is there for our use, for visually and also to walk and to enjoy it, so 10,000 square miles belongs to me. It is reserve forest. We don't do anything there except visually enjoying it.
Sadhguru, you're a profound mistake in visionary.
Okay, about is it coming to Tennessee was the question. Yes, right now that process is going on. I'm not sure I've been kind of disconnected with the larger part of the organization for last 3-4 months because of this ride. The dates or the period when it is coming up, whether it's coming up in this academic, I think it's the next academic year that it will come up.
Sadhguru, you're a profound mistake in visionary humanitarian. And then we have Elon Musk.
What is that humanitarian? What is that? Vegetarian, non-vegetarian, humanitarian, like that? No, I'm not.
And then we have Elon Musk, who is a passionate man with a vision for the world. Both of you are role models for the whole world. You say we need to curtail our population. On the contrary, Elon Musk says there aren't enough people, birth rate could be a threat. Which one should we believe in?
You tell me. See, right now, we may think we have many problems in the world. The only problem that you have is of human population. In the beginning of 20th century, our population was 1.6 billion. Today, we're inching towards 8 billion. By 2050, we will be 9.6 billion people. 9.6 billion people or nearly 10 billion people. Oh, believe me, it doesn't matter what education you have, what wealth you have, we are not going to live well here. Yes, because we are nice but we are too many. We need to understand that. So why has this happened? Is it only because of excess reproduction? No. It's just that the lifespan has expanded. For example, in India, we were 33 million people. I'm sorry, 330 million people in 1947. Today, we are 1.3 billion people. In 1947, our average life expectancy of an Indian was 28 years. Most of us wouldn't be here. But today, it is 70 plus. This is a significant achievement for the nation. So, the simple thing is, this is not a philosophy or an ideology, oh, you have this ideology, somebody has something. The simple sense is, it's a question of arithmetic. If you postpone death, should you not postpone birth, I'm asking you? Huh? If you postpone death, should you postpone birth or no? So some postponement is happening. There was a time women were delivering children when they were 14, 15 years of age. Today, the average age in India has come to 21 years. It needs to be pushed further. It needs to be pushed much further if you want some balance. At any given time, 3 generations living on the planet is good. But right now, 5 generations are living on the planet. So do you want the old people to die or do you want to postpone the birth? This is a choice you have. Somebody is saying what they're saying because they're planning to populate another world. Those of you who want to go, you can go. I'm concerned about this planet and keeping it well. So, when I was on the Safe Soil movement ride, somebody told me in Europe, Sadhguru, but they have identified some 300 planets just like Earth, some of them 10 times larger than this planet, approximately some 1.5 million light years away. Is it not good that we go there? I said, you start now. You start, 1.5 million light years, you do the journey, I want to stay here, okay? And anyway, if we find 8 billion planets, 8 billion planets, one for each one of us, as long as you're in pursuit of happiness, you think by squeezing the world you will be happy. If you're in this condition, 8 billion planets will become nothing in 100 years' time. Yes or no? If you are joyful by your own nature, you will do what is needed. You will never be compulsive about your activity. When you are in pursuit of happiness, you will squeeze this planet to death. That's all that's happening. The planet is going bad not because of some evil force. Planet is going bad simply in pursuit of human happiness and well-being.
Sadhguru, is there an afterlife, reincarnation or cycle of karma?
You want to live here or later? These are too many questions in one. Afterlife, reincarnation, karma. There is a book on karma, you must read this. It's an elaborate exposition as to what is karma. See, today there is… because everywhere, particularly the moment it comes to United States of America, every profound concept gets dumbed down to such a simplistic expression. Karma means past karma, another life karma. No. From the day you were born, all the things that you have done with your body, with your mind, with your emotions and with your energy, does it determine who you are right now? Yes or no? Everything. The way you think, feel, act, who you are, is all determined by this. Essentially, let us say, karma means accumulated experiences of life. If I remove all that from you, will you know who you are? No. So, your karma is the basis of the person that you are, not the life that you are. The person that you are is because of your karma. It is neither good nor bad. You should know how to use it. You go into the shopping mall, do you still go or you're only on Amazon? You're going? If you go into the shopping mall, there are probably 1 million products there, all kinds of things. Every time do you go there, do you buy one piece of all these 1 million things and come? You go there, select, walk around, look at everything and pick what you want and come. This discretion you must employ with your karma. All the time it's there, it's like a mall, the whole accumulated karma. You must know what to pick. Today, what do I need for my specific activity? That you must be able to pick. Then karma is a wonderful thing because without that, you will be like a computer without hard disk.
What precautions the world should take to avoid pandemic?
See, if the same virus had come, let's say 500 years ago, when our population was just about 600 million across the world, today this nation has really nearly 370 million, all right? Across the world, it was 600 million. How would it spread? One or two people here and there, they would have died and that's the end of it. Now, one thing is population, another is air travel, another is your food is weak. There is substantial evidence to show, especially in United States, because there have been studies, in the last 100 years, the vegetables and fruits that you eat in terms of micronutrients is down by 90%. You heard me right, 90. If you ate one orange in 1920, in 2020, you have to eat 8 oranges to get the same nourishment. So, I'm sure there are many doctors here, you don't need some expert virologist for this. Any regular doctor will tell you that respiratory infections, respiratory problems that you get, and your nourishment levels in terms of vitamin A, B6, B12, C, calcium, folate, iron, zinc, magnesium, these things are important in your diet. If they are not there, you become susceptible to upper respiratory tract infections. You can call it pandemic, you can call it COVID, you can give numbers to it, whatever, you can make it more and more complicated. Essentially, it is a respiratory tract infection. If you are well nourished, you wouldn't have this. Still it would be there, but not on the scale, the devastation that you are being threatened with, that wouldn't happen if our food was good. Our food can only be good if we keep the soil rich and well. This is why save soil.
What should we all do and the world leaders do to make it possible for a world without wars, crime and hatred? Can we ever live in peace and harmony?
So you're putting everything in the reverse order. War, crime, hatred. First you must say hatred, crime and then war. When hatred overflows, it'll become war. Otherwise, it's just a little quarrel, isn't it? Hatred is not just between nations. Within the family it happens, between the neighbors it happens, in the communities it happens. But somebody will diffuse it, or people don't have the courage to fight. One of these things will put it down. How do you avoid these things? See, this is a complex world. In this world, your interests and my interests may intersect and overlap. I also want these flowers, you also want these flowers, because there are only that many flowers. So one way is, okay, we are brothers, let's divide the flowers. You know, when property division is happening at home between brothers, what all comes up? Whichever way you cut it, somebody is unhappy. Yes or no? Whichever way you divide it, somebody is always unhappy because you got one petal more. So, this is the human issue, that the resource that is there, everybody is wanting to have the best of it. Why has these flowers become more important than anything else between you and me? Right now, if there's a dispute, these flowers have become more important than our lives because we may take each other's lives when it becomes very serious. But if you're not understanding the flower significance, I'll make them into golden flowers. Now you get it. So, this is important that we understand. The problem is, as I said earlier, that's your body, this is my body, this is my mind, that's your mind, this is my emotion, that's your emotion. But we are looking at what separates us. We are not looking at what unifies us, what makes us one. In this world, in the name of nations, race, religion, caste, creed, gender, how many ways we have found divisions, how you and me are different. It is time we also look at what unites us. If you do not understand what is that unifying consciousness, the cosmic consciousness of which we are all just a small product, if we do not understand and if that is not in your experience, at least understand this much, we all come from the same soil, we are living and eating out of the same soil, when we die, we go back to the same soil. The only question is, will we get this now or will we get this when we are buried? Will we become one for the soil or we will become one in the soil? This is the choice we have. Hey, why are you copying questions, huh? Why are you copying questions? Usually people copy answers.
Sadhguru, what if everyone turns spiritual and gets enlightened? Will then physical world come to an end?
You're talking to me? Very few people in the world will do as much in the physical world as I do on a daily basis. Because you have looked at those people who are trying to be spiritual. So for them to be spiritual, they need an antiseptic box. You can call it a cave, you can call it an ashram, you can call it whatever. Essentially, see right now, there were vulnerable people, people beyond a certain age with certain conditions, they were more vulnerable during the pandemic. What did we do with them? Lock them up somewhere. The younger people were going about doing things, everything. But these people were kept because they're vulnerable. So if you're calling your vulnerability as spirituality, I'm very sorry, because spirituality is not a disability. You're asking this question from the same format that has come, that if you say, I am spiritual, people will ask you, what are the things you cannot do? If you're disabled, you're spiritual. Spirituality is being understood as a disability. If it's a disability, it must be banned. What do you say? Hello? If consciously people are disabling themselves, should it be banned or no? It's just like a drug. No, spirituality is the highest level of empowerment that a human being can find. When you say spirituality, do not imagine all kinds of things. It's like this. You have a phone? Phone. Not here, but you have. If you buy a new phone, should you read the user's manual in the first 3 days or after 3 years when you're discarding it? When should you read it? As soon as you get it? Now I'm asking you, this one, this human form that you have, is this the most complex and sophisticated machine on the planet? Have you read the user's manual? That's all the problem. Spiritual process means you know everything that you need to know about this one. The more you know about your phone, the better you can use it, yes or no? Why is that not true with this? The more you know about this, the better you can use it. So if you understand, as we already went through, your body is an accumulation, your mind is an accumulation, what you accumulate is fine, but it can't be you, isn't it? Is it not important you know the nature of what this is before you step out into the world and act? Hello? That's all spiritual process means. It's the highest level of empowerment. It must start at the beginning of your life, not after you're no good for anything.
Sadhguru, how to raise kids to be better than us?
You must enhance yourself in such a way that you become an inspiration. Because children cannot be raised, they are not cattle. You can raise cattle. A human child means the difference between a pet dog that you get or any other creature and a human child is, for all other creatures, nature has fixed their life 90% is fixed by nature. 10% latitude to find their own expression, individual life. But in the case of a human being, only 10% is fixed, 90% is left open. Human beings or human children are coming unformed. But that is the greatest beauty of human life, that nature doesn't have a hold on you, it is leaving you free. With human level of intelligence and consciousness, It is left you free so that you can form your own life the way you want. This is the greatest thing of being human, that we can make ourselves the way we want. But right now, you're trying to make them like you. Parents are trying to make their children like you. Teachers are attempting to make them like them. Religious teachers are forcefully trying to make them like them. Criminals on the street are trying to make them like them. Those who are selling alcohol and drugs are trying to make them like them. Different people are trying to make the child the way it is advantageous to them. All are vested interests. I'm sorry, I'm putting the parents also in that same category, because when you get a child, when you have a new life coming, this means, see, life doesn't come from you, it only comes through you. It's a great privilege, a new life has come. When a new life has come, if you look at yourself and your child, who is more joyful? Child. Who should be the consultant for life? So when a child comes, you must learn, not teach. There's something to learn. The only thing that you have is… See, the only sense of superiority you have over the child is that you arrived here a few years earlier. Beyond that, you have no other qualification, believe me. Hello? Maybe you know few survival tricks, that they will also learn. If you want, you can teach them, but that's not everything. But in terms of life, who is closer to the liveliness that they are? You or the child? So when a child comes, you may be grumpy little two couple like this, not talking to each other, but still you make babies. So you're grumpy like that, but a child comes like a bundle of joy, it giggles for nothing, laughs, runs, crawls under the sofa, you also crawled under the sofa. Even if you don't know any damn thing to say, you start singing something, okay? You sing something, you crawl under the sofa, you start playing. Oh, life has come back to you once again. Because in many ways, you had lost your life. Once again, there is some vigor. It need not be so, you can stay that way even without a child. But I'm saying this is the reality for most people. If they don't have children within the first 10 years of their marriage, they become like this. Not everybody, a whole lot of people. So, a child is a great blessing, it's a fresh life. It's not your business to bring it up, it's your business to just create the right ambience. What is the ambience? If you have a child, you just do this much. In your home, the child should never ever see what is anger, what is resentment, what is hatred, what is frustration, what is misery. Child should never see this. Just an atmosphere of joy, love and enthusiasm and exuberance. Just create this, child will grow up wonderfully. But you are not the only influence. There is internet, there is a street corner, there is a school. That is not completely under your control. You can manage. But if you create a super pleasant atmosphere at home, child is more gravitated towards that. And first of all, when you have a child, as I told you, just because of your seniority, you say, "Hey, sit here, do this, get up." You're just a bully, yeah? Hello? This is happening in the schools. Some idiot joined the school 2 years ahead of you and he bullies you. So you came here 20 years ahead, that means you can bully the child? Stop this. What a child needs is in the form of parents, stop being father and mother because this sets you up like a boss. Be a good friend. Hello? Just be a good friend, you will see everything will work.
Sadhguru, few years back, I've done my inner engineering, followed all the…
Is it working? I'm checking with the inspectors.
I followed everything what was told, or most of it. Few years with the rat race, running around, the work and travel, I couldn't continue it. What are the ways, what is the way schedules for the work? And what is the way for us to continue and follow what you're teaching us?
See, today the preparatory part of inner engineering is available online. It's a 7-segment, 7-step process. You can do it in the comfort of your home. But the next step, which is teaching a certain powerful process, which can change the fundamental chemistry of who you are, in the sense, see, what you call as peace, love, joy, misery, agony, ecstasy, stress, whatever you call it, all human experiences have a chemical basis to it. Now, what we are referring to as Shambhavi is a way of creating a blissful chemistry. If you sit here, you're blissful not because of something, you're simply blissful because that's the way life wants to be. Not you as a person, but life wants to be pleasant or unpleasant, tell me. What does it enjoy most? Pleasantness. So it wants a beautiful chemistry. When I say a chemistry, I know all the Vaishya women, you're all very good cooks. I have been also enjoying your cooking last 2 days. But if I give the same ingredients, let's say we want to make a soup, I give the same ingredients to all of you, will all of you produce the same kind of soup? That's all human life is. All of us same ingredients. Why one is blissful, another is miserable, another is peaceful, another is in turmoil? Simply because you are a bad cook. You're a lousy cook. Yes, because to make a simple sambar, I'm taking a very basic thing in southern India. Is everybody's sambar tasting the same way? Some sambar, if you taste, you can't leave, you have to go behind that lady for sambar. Some, if you taste, that's the last time you want to see them. I'm saying something so basic. Everybody knows the ingredients, everybody knows how to do it, it still doesn't turn out the same way because there is something called as attention, involvement, skill. Yes or no? Same for this. We all have come with the same chemistry, fundamentally. The complexity of chemistry is same between you and me. How you organize it, how you mix it, and what kind of soup this becomes, whether this is a great soup or a miserable soup, simply depends on are you a great cook or a lousy cook. So little training is needed, that's all. That's what Shambhavi is about, to stir the soup in the right way so that this is a blissful chemistry.
Sadhguru, I'll, with your permission, go with the question with the audience.
I can, but
have volunteers already.
Have I eaten into some other program's time? I don't want to take… Yes, sir.
I think Isha volunteers are here. First I'll take a question from this section. Yeah. Can you pass on the mic here?
Namaste Sadhguru.
Where are you?
Sadhguru, good evening, good afternoon, and we are very blessed to have you here.
1 second. You're loud, but it's coming twice to me, I'm not able to make out. If you can come a little
You want me to come over here?
Little, yes,
okay.
please.
Okay. You want me to use mic or…
It's all right, use it.
Okay. We are blessed to have you here, Sadhguruji, and I have a question for… India belongs to a Hindu religion, and after very series of invaders invading India for 800 to 1000 years, how the Hindu religion has survived, and we don't know the head and tail of their religion and how it has survived, and how that is, if you see another 1000 years, do you think that the religion is still continue further in the same way? That's my question, sir.
See, the last word that you added answers your question. If you want it the same way, nothing will be the same way 1000 years later. Same way is not the way of the Hindu culture. It's an evolving culture. Same way belongs to others who have concretized their ways, because everything that has to be said has been said in one book, so it is concrete. That is the same way, always the same way. That is not the nature of the Hindu way of life, because I want you to understand this. You must listen to this carefully, otherwise you will misunderstand this. See, I want you to first of all know that the Hindu way of life, India is a godless culture. There is no the God up there. The people that you worship, whether Shiva, Rama, Krishna, whatever, these are all human beings who walked on the geography of that land, went normal birth, trials and tribulations of life, war, marriage, complexities, political fights, all kinds of things. Through all that they went through, like anybody else, sometimes just, sometimes mean, everything they did, but they remained untouched. When you can go through life doing everything that you can do, everything that needs to be done in the world, but untouched, then we say, he is a Jivan Mukta. That means he is free. Life doesn't tarnish him, life doesn't make him bitter, life doesn't leave him unhappy. He just goes through everything untouched by the process of life. So this is why what you call as Hindu, there's only one value. Mukti, moksha, freedom or liberation is the highest goal. God is not the highest goal for us. Heaven is not the goal for us. Liberation is the goal for you. In this generation you might have forgotten, but if you had a grandmother, I'm sure you had, because without mothers and grandmothers nobody's here, okay? I'm just telling you because some people think they dropped. Just sitting, standing, not some spiritual conversation, daily conversation without saying ayo, prarabdha, karma, mukti, moksha, there was no conversation in India. Yes, because everything that you do is for your mukti, that you must be liberated. Because it doesn't matter what you have, if you're entangled, it only causes misery. What you think is your joy today, the moment you get entangled in the same thing, that becomes the source of your misery. So mukti was held as the highest. So these individuals that I'm talking about did not win wars, they lost wars. One won, another lost. Their life is not a success. If you look at Rama's life, it's a serial disaster. You lose your kingdom, you lose your wife, you lose your children, unknowingly you fight a battle with your own children, you would have killed them. Terrible life. But we worship him because he goes through all this without any bitterness, without any hatred, untouched by life. So, this liberation is the highest value, mukti is… moksha is the only value in that country, not God, not heaven. See, all of you, Vaishya community, you are worshipping Vasavi Devi. She didn't drop from heaven, she didn't come from heaven, she was born here. Today you may, make it celebratory, but what she went through in her life is not good. She is being forced into something. Rather than going through that, she sheds her life in a terrible way. But now we worship her because such a sense of dispassion that it doesn't matter what happens to my body, what happens to my life, still I will keep my basic freedom within myself. For that you're worshipping her. Not because she descended from heaven, because she's born in earth, she's born upon this earth like every one of us, put through trials that most of you have never been put through, forced into situations which are extremely difficult to handle for any human being, but you worship her because she stays above that situation. Freedom, mukti, is the only thing that we value. If you keep it this way, this culture, that if you're conscious and keep it this way, In another 25 to 50 years, this is the only thing everybody will aspire for. But it's very important we keep it, especially all of you who are living outside the country, has a great responsibility because it's very important you keep it. Do not think of Hindu as a religion. Hindu means it is a seeking, it is not… See, the difference between religion and spirituality is this. Religion means you have to believe something that you don't know. You're not sincere enough to admit that I don't know. Seeking means you have realized that you do not know, so you're seeking. So this is a seeking. It doesn't matter if the Vedas are there, Upanishads are there, Gita is there, something is there. Doesn't matter who said what, you still have to seek your truth. This is the nature of the culture. This will become very important as human intellect becomes more and more active. See, 100 years ago, if you came to this part of the world and said, how many of you want to go to heaven? 100% of the hands would have gone up. Today you ask, how many of you want to go to heaven? 8 to 10% is going up. Believe me, in another 25 to 50 years' time, no hands will be going up. Because this whole illogic of saying that if you don't live well here, it doesn't matter, somewhere else you will live wonderfully well, this is not going to sell in another 25 years' time. So, this… you must know this, the nature of life for a Hindu is, you don't have a super manager up there managing this. Vasavi Devi is not managing your life, she's just a great inspiration, but she's not managing your life. It's your karma. This means your life is your karma, means your life is your making. There cannot be a more progressive and dynamic way to live.
Next, we'll go with the one question with this section. Can someone pass on the mic?
Have some gender parity, otherwise it'll get me into trouble. Give it to that girl. Another girl stood up. Anybody, please take it.
We have a question here from a girl.
I know you want to speak from your heart, but only near the mouth it works. Everybody else should hear, right?
Yes.
Only when you speak.
Namaskaram. My hands are shaking. And we are blessed to have you as a guru. I have a question about one basic fundamental requirement. How can I be in the present? What should I do? Is there any…
Did you get it?
We couldn't get it.
How can I be in the present?
How can I?
Be in the moment.
Oh. Okay, this is another pandemic.
Should I repeat again or…
You ask question, I understand the question. This is another pandemic in America, be in the moment. See, I'm asking you, please all of you, please be somewhere else and show it to me. Hello? Can you be somewhere else? You can only be in this moment. What you're thinking is, or what this kind of teachings are trying to tell you is, do not think about the past, do not think about the future. It took millions of years to get this level of cerebral capability that you have a vivid sense of memory which makes your life rich, and you have a fantastic sense of imagination which helps you to create many things. This is the most or the highest privilege that human being has, with reference to every other creature. Yes or no? A vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. You can remember what happened 25 years ago. Isn't it a beautiful moment? Somebody here, you never met them for 25 years. Hey, you! You and that person both light up or no? Huh? Hello? Maybe just for a moment, but does it light up or no? Why? Because such a sense of memory. If nobody… those who saw you saw yesterday, you don't recognize them. You will be like a dead human being. So your memory and imagination are two faculties which are absolutely fantastic in you. But now you have begun to suffer that. When you suffer this, you will either overeat and sleep, or you will drink alcohol and go down, or you will take a drug and try to demolish this. All this you're doing because you did not read the user's manual, how to manage this body and this mind. Because it's so complex, it turns against you. I will ask you a simple question, all of you must choose because I'm going to bless. Do you want a sharp intelligence or a dull intelligence? Oh, people in the front rows are not choosing anything, blessed. So you said you want something sharp. If I give you something very sharp in your hand, you must be conscious how you hold it, isn't it? Otherwise you'll hurt yourself or you'll hurt somebody. This is all that's happening to you. Because your intelligence is much sharper than any other creature on this planet, you are poking yourself all the time. You call this stress, you call this tension, you call this anxiety, call it whatever the hell you want. Essentially, you do not know how to handle your own intelligence. Yes or no? If you knew how to handle your intelligence, you would make it work for your well-being. Right now it's working against you. So somebody comes with this philosophy and says, be in the moment, don't think about yesterday, don't think about tomorrow. All they're saying is, become an earthworm. I'm not saying earthworm is wrong because, we have a earthworm NFT right now, all of you should look it up. Because if you had the brain of an earthworm, you would always be in the moment and you would also be eco-friendly. It's very much in line with the mission, save soil. But this level of cerebral capability is a tremendous possibility. When you don't know how to handle it, you want to somehow kill it. No, you must think, you must remember every damn thing that happened in your life. You must be able to think through the next 100 years. What is it that's going to happen to you and things around you? What's the problem? The problem is you do not know the difference between your psychological reality and the existential. You start thinking, you're sitting in Chicago, you start thinking New York, and then you think you're in New York, now you're in trouble. You're sitting in Chicago, thinking about New York, what's the problem? Hello? What is the problem? The problem is not about being in the moment or not being in the moment, because anyway you're in the moment. If you're asleep or also you're in the moment, isn't it? Life is happening in this moment. The problem is there is no consciousness, you're not conscious enough. Because to be conscious, you need a higher level of energy. How do I become conscious? You are trying to become conscious through that, but that is going to be extremely strenuous for you. If you raise the voltage of life, you will naturally be conscious. It is like this, if there is just a spotlight in this hall, I am seeing only 10 people there and I think there are only 10 people. If we turn up all the lights or if we increase the voltage of the light, suddenly we see thousands of people. So whatever your consciousness is not there, if you don't have enough voltage within you, then you see very few things and great possibilities seem like problems. Essentially, you're treating your intelligence as a problem. That's why somebody is telling you, do not think about the past, do not think about the future. No, it's very important that you remember the past. That's why your life is what it is. And it's very important that you imagine and create your future, and it's even more important. Let's make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you all
you.
have been
Thank
the
you,
wonderful
Sadhguru.
audience.
Thank you for your time and thank you for your enlightenment.
Namaskaram.
Thank you so much once again. Let's go.
Audio. Audio.
This very body is soil.
Can we get the…
My body. This very body is soil. My body, your body, everybody is just soil body. The magic of soil is it turns death into life. Depleted soils will not quench the fire of hunger. Unquenched hunger can burn the very world. This is a generational responsibility. Save soil. Let's make it happen.
I ask of you that right now, in the last 4 months, the narrative on the planet has definitely shifted towards soil. It's become a process in various governments. 74 nations have already made declarations. After these 2 weeks here, I'm in Caribbean, South America and some parts of Europe to take this to the next step. So it's moving in that direction, but the important thing is the pace. At what pace will we go? To keep the pace up, there is nothing other than the citizens of the world keeping their voice up. So I beseech every one of you, next 12 months, 10 minutes a day, can you say something about soil, either on social media or in the society or wherever you have access? 10 minutes a day, can you commit this? 10 minutes a day.
Let's take a pledge.
So, in the next 6 months, wherever I go, if people are telling me, in different corners of the world, if people tell me the Vaishya people are really talking about the soil, I will… Wait, I'm making an offer. If I hear everywhere that the Vaishya people are really vocal about soil, then I will conduct a special spiritual program just for you. Thank you very much.
Save soil.
Thank you very
Save
much.
soil, let's make it happen.
Greatest master for many of us here. Thank you so much, Sadhguru. Your presence has really energized the entire arena here and has enlightened many, many hearts once again. Thank you all. And definitely don't forget about the Save the Soil pledge.